I can see your handsome face.
Oh, buddy, I see your beautiful face. God, that voice, though. I want you to talk me to sleep at night. It's beautiful.
Welcome to Story and Craft. Now, here's your host, Mark Preston.
All right, let's do this thing. How are you? Welcome back. Glad to have you. Whatever you're up to right now, if you're riding the bike, exercising, doing some work, maybe you do what I do when I listen to podcasts. You're in the car. Be safe as you're driving. Of course, if you're doing a road trip, where are you going? Let me know. Hopefully it's somewhere near the beach. That sounds really wonderful to me right now. Whatever you're doing, thanks so much for hanging out. Hey, if this is your first episode of Story and Craft, my name is Mark, and I'm really jazzed that you have come to check out what we got going on here. And by the way, little heads up, every Tuesday we come out with an episode, but we are now going to be a 2-episode-a-week show. Tuesdays, Thursdays, twice a week. I am all up in your podcast app. However you want to listen, check it out. Don't forget storyandcraftpod.com. It's the way you find out about pretty much everything going on. You want to get on the mailing list, want to send me a voicemail, want to do the social media follow thing, just go to storyandcraftpod.com. Of course, Instagram seems to be the thing I'm spending a little bit more time on these days, so just follow me, or follow the show rather, at Story and Craft Pod. Again, on Instagram, Story and Craft Pod. All right, so this week, what do we have going on? Oh, yeah, Billy Magnussen. What a cool guy. Love his energy. Really enjoyed this episode. Billy's crazy talented. I mean, he's been on film and TV for years. He's even a Tony-nominated stage actor. You may know him from movies like Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, maybe The Oath with Ike Barinholtz, who I think is one of the coolest actors out there. Also directed that movie, by the way. He has been in the Sopranos movie, The Many Saints of Newark, and most recently, of course, he was toe-to-toe with James Bond in No Time to Die. But today we're talking about his new movie, which is called The Survivor. It's an HBO film where he co-stars alongside Ben Foster, and it is a phenomenal movie directed by Barry Levinson, coming out on Wednesday, April 27th, which is the same day as Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance Day. This is the perfect movie to come out on that day. I can't say enough great things about it. Watched the movie with the kids a little while back. Really, really phenomenal film. Now, Billy is crazy busy also. Season 2 of the HBO Max series Made for Love is coming out on Thursday, April 28th. Check it out. Good stuff. Let's do it. It's Billy Magnussen Day here on Story and Craft. How are you doing today, man?
Good.
You're in Europe right now. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Belfast at the moment, working on a Netflix project out here, and a Heartbeat production. Yeah, way out here. You? Where are you at?
I am in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm a native Texan.
New Orleans, baby. Which neighborhood?
Metairie. So.
Oh, wow.
I'm from Texas originally, lived in Southern California. I'm here, and once upon a time used to actually do more on camera work here, and then I went up to Atlanta, as I'm sure you know very well.
Yeah. ATL, look, I got the Atlanta United shirt.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it's coming back down here, though. So, I've talked to some fellow actor friends, and they're like, oh, man, everything's coming down. And I'm like, COVID, I was kind of like, I was like, going into auditions, can't really do that as much. And, the audition thing, driving across town. It's like, oh, no, man, everything's on camera now. Nobody goes to the casting director anymore. So I'm like, oh, really? Well,
no, it stinks. I miss going in the room. I really do. I miss it so much.
It's nice to have that to bounce off somebody and have someone there reading lines with you. So it's
but also like feeling the energy of someone more than anything. Like to really be like, oh, do I even want to work myself with this person or something? That's what I think we're missing.
As they say, acting's reacting, so it's kind of hard when you're just you and staring into a lens, and that's it, So, but yeah, it's kind of a new thing. A friend of mine was telling me, it's like, yeah, I'm even the person where I'm auditioning with. They're using an iPad and they've got a teleprompter, so you don't really even need to memorize all the lines. I'm like, now this is getting too easy for me,
It's getting way too easy.
But I just want to congratulate you real quick. Last night, my kids and I we checked out the screener of The Survivor, man, what a
You and your kids watch that?
well, they're teenagers, one's in college, and
Okay.
it would be a little much if they were like little, first graders. But no, we watched it. It was great.
Yeah.
We're Jewish. We had the Passover dinner, made the matzo ball soup. Like, hey, let's watch a movie about our tribe. And I was like, man, that was just knocked it out of the park, my friend. And of course,
Thank you.
We'll get in the weeds
Thank
on that
you.
in a moment. But it's funny because last time we went to the theater, we saw you in Bond. No Time to Die. I'm like going, Billy keeps showing up in our life, man. It's whenever I'm watching a film with my kids. And it's kind of funny.
Actually, look out. I'm behind you right now. So.
No, it's funny because I was going over some notes on some stuff with my show, and I was like, you know what? Throughout the life of my show, in the last few weeks, I've had 3 Billys. I have Billy Burke, Billy Bob Thornton, and you. It's like it's all Billys all the time, So it's like only the best Billys should be the name of my show, I think.
Oh man, that's awesome. How was Billy Bob? A nice guy?
Very, very cool guy. We were talking about his, he's a musician. He's in a band called the Boxmasters. Is he and another guy? They're on tour right now. Mm-hmm. So Billy's just as chill as you could possibly imagine. So never, it's like you don't know what to expect with him, but he was as chill as could possibly be. I really enjoyed the chat. But I was curious. When you're not in Europe, where are you posted up in L.A. or do you live in New York? I know you had some time on Broadway.
Yeah, no, I had always, since college, I went to school in North Carolina. And then once I was like 21, 22, I moved to New York and had been like based in New York till about 2018. Like here and there I would fly out for a job if I got it, very fortunately, But after 2018, I kind of haven't lived anywhere, sadly. I've been all over the place, Europe a lot. I have worked in LA, Arizona. This life gets tough after a while. You want to build roots somewhere, and these past 5 years have been challenging for me because I haven't found a home, and I'm missing. I need it, especially as an older man now. It's like I want that shit.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with a friend of mine who travels a lot for work, and he'd be gone. I don't know, 2-3 days out of the week, and I'm like, just going to different places sounds like a lot of fun. Especially if you're an actor, being able to go different places. After a while, though, he's like, man, I just want to be in my own bed more, And I guess that's something. If you're in your early 20s, it's a whole different game,
It was exciting. It was, I think, as men, we go through these stages in life. As like, ironically, infants do. We have stages, and as men, I think we also have these stages where you are that adventurer, that explorer, and then you become. I need my kingdom. I need to like really find a home somehow. It can be exciting and thrilling, and my community is international now. I have friends all over the world. But I just want a home.
Now where did y'all shoot? The Survivor?
Budapest. Yeah, we shot that in Hungary. Yeah, and it was all around Hungary, and that was an intense experience, but very, very enriching and fulfilling as a performer and artist. It really meant something. I was in another interview talking about it. And I realized, Ben Foster, Barry Levinson, fantastic, a sweet man, legend.
Oh, in his own right. He just killed it in this. I mean, there's like between his time with you. I don't want to give anything away about the film, but there were different stages. We're in different decades. He does this physical metamorphosis. Hats off to the makeup department on that one, or
No, Ben lost all that weight. He did it.
Really?
He did it.
Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, in such I don't want to speak for him, but I've heard him say this, that it was out of respect, to really tell the story, to feel the same similarities, of starving and fighting for your life, weirdly. Yeah, he's a great guy, but shooting the film with him, we shot for a month, and it wasn't till we were finally shooting he started eating again. We sat down for a dinner and had a drink, and it was finally wonderful to meet Ben. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the interactions between y'all, and again, I like to be really careful not to give spoilers, because then that's the biggest irritant. You know, you hear interviews like, oh, well, I've kind of reverse engineered a big chunk of this movie now. Now I've heard the interview. I don't want to do that. But I will say, of course, you know, you're playing a Nazi officer. And one of the questions I've always got, because when you're acting, you got to be empathetic. I don't care how bad of a person in history you're playing, you got to kind of be empathetic to play them properly, of course. But putting on a Nazi uniform and getting into, you know, that character, how does that feel? You know, that kind of visceral experience. What's that experience like?
I think everything, the experience, it's like multitudes. This question, I feel, or I would like to express my answer in layers. With every project, you start with the script and what is the story I'm telling. So getting into this character, I had to become kind of like the biggest adversary or antagonist to Harry Half through the story. And the higher I could set the wall or mountain he had to climb, the better I think we could influence the story or tell the story. Now, that was my objective going into this process, to play against Ben Foster in such a way. But then putting on the outfit, there's so much history that goes with that wardrobe and that outfit. And honestly, the costume kind of takes you over a little bit. It really, you feel it. They were well tailored, well put together uniforms. Like, they are sharp. We know who made it and stuff like that, who was the original designer.
Yeah, but it was very well. I mean, you had the toe. You're the epitome of a Nazi officer, which sounds derogatory, but no, I mean, it was kind of the way there was a big deal about the outward appearance. You're making your case for what you believe, and it was a wonderful bit of dialogue. This is not just Nazi just being a bad guy. You know, you're making your case.
Yeah, again, it's these people. I think Obersturm Dietrich Schneider, the character I played, he was an intellectual, an educated man that knew that Germany was going to fall, and he was trying to be not an optimist, an opportunist, to find his way out and find a way to, you know, have something after the fall of the Reich, you know. So I definitely don't sympathize with him at all, but I understand, like, a character being in his position of privilege, trying to find the best outcome for him. So it's so hard to talk about this thing and be gentle about it. It's really, you know, especially PC or whatever. But, like, again, I'm so proud of this work and creating this character and bringing it to life. And it's hard to, again, in this weird profession, I've gotten an opportunity to play these crazy characters, like, all over the place. But this one, you know, it hits different because I think if you fake it at all, or you wink at it, or you comment on it, you lose it.
That's a great way of putting it. You comment on, or you softball it at all. I mean, you've really got to go for it. I mean, you're up to bat. You got to be the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But that, you know, what now? Barry Levinson has, I mean, incredible body of work. I mean, I'm just wondering, in something like this, which, like you're saying, it's got to be handled properly. What was the experience like being in a film that carries this kind of weight, but also is it was such a great film. I'm so glad I had a chance to catch it last night with the kids, because, like I told them, it's important for them to see things, because as years go by, you know, these stories become more just stuff in history books.
Can't forget this shit. We can't forget this shit. We see it happening with Russia and Ukraine. It's so important not to forget this shit. You know, and you can't get light about it. You can't get light about this, because history will repeat itself if we do not remember these stories. And obviously we see it happening. And, like, we are in a generation where I think they are forgetting. And I do truly believe that. And it's sad. It's sad. I'm sorry I get a little passionate about this, but yeah, we have to honor.
No, I think you should. Like you said, the Ukraine thing. You watch the news and you go, you know, the DNA of what was going on, you know, here in the 1930s, 40s, you're seeing some of that same DNA showing up with Russia and what's going on in Ukraine.
They're using the same rhetoric apparently in Russia about them being Nazis in Ukraine to sell the story to them. It's like, what the? I don't know, man. sorry, we're going off tangent, but yeah, you can't.
That's what I think, like, so the weight of the film. I remember being, oh God, my 12, 11, 12, 13, and you'd see some of these, and they go to Sunday school, the synagogue, and you'd have some of the concentration camp survivors with the tattoos on their arms, the show, and they did have a little bit of that. They would tell the story, but it was not something that they really were, you can kind of tell they were doing because they felt it was important. They had seen some things in life,
Well, yeah, well, that's what this brings. I think Barry did so well with this film is that we don't know what people are carrying all the time. They're carrying this weight. PTSD is a real thing. Like, no matter where we go, people have the world on their back, and we have no clue. We don't know anyone's story and what their luggage is, their baggage is.
What did Barry Levinson give y'all as far as any kind of notes? Playing a Nazi officer. I mean, did he come to you and just say, "Hey, bring me whatever you got," or did he have something specific for you that he wanted to elicit?
I can't. We did shoot it 3.5, 4 years ago. So I just remember having a lot of discussions about what is the story we're telling. What is the story we're telling? I did my research. I think that, half the film I speak German to German officers. The other half is with the accent. I think he gave me a lot of freedom to breathe life into a character, create him drastically. And he would, guide me here this way or that way as I moved through it. But I felt a lot of empowerment given by Barry. He endowed power to me in this process.
Because I'm always curious, as an actor, I haven't acted nearly as much as you, but you hear stories about some directors going through many, 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 many takes, and you have somebody like Clint Eastwood. It's like, all right, go, maybe one take, lucky if you get two, kind of a thing, and you're on. Is this something where y'all really worked at it, or is it?
No, man. I do like that big scene you're talking about. I think I had three or four runs at it. That was it.
Well, and did you learn German for this, or was that something that you already kind of had in your really?
No, I had to learn German, man. That was crazy.
The thing I love, another thing I will say, and I'm lucky that I've spoken with a few people like this, that I love being able to watch people with no dialogue, just watching them, and then like you're just an interesting guy to watch. You didn't even necessarily need the dialogue, because I think a lot of in that interaction, given the relationship you had, is a lot of non-spoken stuff's going on. I mean, dude, you cover a lot of ground. That's all I'm saying. So, Mazel Tov. No, but what's the story? I love that part of the movie too. But the thing about this and No Time to Die, you're working. It's got to be, with COVID, they pushed No Time to Die back in was it a year?
Survivor we shot before No Time to Die, actually. So I think we shot, No Time to Die was 2019. We did it. Yeah. And Survivor was shot before that even.
I can't even tell you what I had for lunch yesterday. So here we are talking about, but of course, does it come back to you? I've heard many actors talk about, the thing they remember about the movie isn't necessarily the movie, but the making of it. Is it still pretty fresh? Like you can kind of go back there and remember the beats and the moments.
Yeah, there are moments I definitely remember. I remember stepping on that set first in Yavorno we created, and stepping onto that set and feeling that weight and feeling the air and just feeling, holy shit. And then you dress it up with the actors and the environment. You're just like, oh God, it's a visceral thing.
I think he directed the crap out of that thing, man. It was just so.
I think he did too.
One of my favorite things about it, and again, I'm not giving anything away, but there, of course, Harry Half's a boxer. He's boxing. He's in front of for the Nazis. It's just the looks and just these sequences of looks on the face of the Jews in the camp. That
Nazis are watching from the behind the fence.
That right there it's such a great film just to watch and to just kind of take in. And I think it's going to go down as another one of those great educational type films, for the young folk. It's like, okay, this is a thing that happened. Now, going back a little bit more about, I know you've been nominated for a Tony, which is pretty awesome. I mean, you're covering comedy. Did you come from an acting background? I mean, your folks, is this in your DNA?
No. Funny enough, I think I had a great grandpa from Lithuania who was an actor, apparently. That's about it. Everyone else in my family, my blue collar. My father's a carpenter. My mom was like a really strong stay-home mom. She also was a personal trainer for a lot of her life. Yeah. But no, I don't know where it really came from per se. I think there was just a moment in my life where I found something that intrigued me. And I kind of just went down that road, and it kind of like has led me on this journey that has led me to here. It's funny. Each project that I've ever done, like I think as a performer and artist, you can't really choose what jobs you get, but you can choose what you pursue, and you can work hard on what you do get. And I've realized every project that has come across my lap and I had the fortunate opportunity to work on has developed me more as a man and made me the man that I am today, weirdly. And I could be more grateful for that.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of doing this. Just you learn so much about yourself because you have to kind of look inside to create stuff. You have to, it has to be something organic and real. And, for hit and rewind, I mean, what was it for? Was it high school drama class, or was it, how did you kind of jumpstart this thing?
Yeah, funny enough, I think I had a lot of energy growing up as a kid. I'm maybe undiagnosed ADD or something like that.
What? And you're an actor? I've never heard that happen before.
But no, I was a big jock and stuff like that. Played a lot of sports. I ripped a hamstring wrestling, and I couldn't take a gym class, so I was put in an acting class. And then I just I saw my high school production of Grease, and I was like, "What is this? I want to see what this is." And then I thought I was going to go to Auburn or some university like that, and I had a theater teacher, Renee Denny, told me to go audition for the school, North Carolina School of the Arts, and I surprisingly got in, and she was like, go on this journey. And I kind of just followed it a little bit.
What'd you think about North Carolina, being a guy from, you're from the East Coast originally, right? You're from New York.
New York originally, but then I did move down to Georgia when I was 10 years old. So I did do my teen years in north of Atlanta. Yeah, North Carolina is great. It's a little colder than Georgia, but it was great.
Yeah, it's so funny. Back in '98, I kind of started off in radio, and I was 17 years old. And then I ended up, long story short, having a syndicated radio show. I was like, I want to do one morning show before I'm done doing my radio thing. And I had this potential offer to do something in Charlotte. And man, I love North Carolina. It was just a beautiful, lots of trees. That's all I remember. And then I ended up taking a gig in New Orleans. So, and then.
But New Orleans, man, that's a great city. There's this beautiful mysticism. There's magic and voodoo there. And it's both.
And cholesterol.
Light and dark. What?
And cholesterol.
And cholesterol. Yeah, everything's fried. Yeah, you want that fried gator?
The funny thing is, it's one of those things. It's not a love-hate. I'm not going to say it like that, but you got to take this is a new studio here because the other one got wrecked in Hurricane Ida. Wow. You kind of take it, but it's a different speed, but it's a different. It's everywhere you live is different from somewhere else, but New Orleans is a special kind of different from a lot of other places, But it's every actor I talk to loves coming to shoot here, so we
shot The Big Short there. I remember.
Really, The Big Short was shot here. Really, I did not know that.
What was that? 8 years ago? I think I turned 30 when I was there.
God, I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. So, but no, was the on camera first, or was it stage? Because, did you progress the stage and then jump into film, or were you kind of do it concurrently when you back then?
My first job ever was for the Eugene O'Neill Playwriting Festival, and I got fired from it because I was so nervous I was making up lines.
I laugh because I've done that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, But then I got the opportunity to do Terrence McNally's The Ritz on Broadway at Studio 54, directed by Joe Mantello. And that was like my first real job, actually. And like it was glorified. I was a glorified extra that wore a turquoise Speedo and walked across the stage. So that was my first theater experience. But then I got into...
Well, you're the first person I've ever spoken with that wore a turquoise Speedo, so you know.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm wearing it right now.
You alternate between that and the sequin one. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got cast, very fortunately, on As the World Turns, a soap opera. And I did, I was a trained theater actor at North Carolina. But then, you get out into the real world and, a school, no matter how great it is, it's still, you don't know what it tastes like to be in there with the wolves, I guess you can say. Like to actually, there's stake there. There's things on the line, and being a part of As the World Turns was the best learning experience I could have ever gotten. I had to be professional overnight.
I think it's amazing how many actors have that as part of their training ground. I mean,
Morgan Freeman was on mine. Yeah.
You got to show up on time. You got to know your lines. You got to hit your marks. And if you're going through lots of pages, by comparison to other forms of
30
acting.
to 40 a day. 30 to 40 a day.
That many, really?
You're doing full scenes, and it forced you to memorize lines, create on the spot, basically, and like do a scene within like 15 minutes, man. It was unbelievable. And also that, people's lives are at stake here. They want to go home, see their family, get your shit done. I remember this woman, Ellen Dolan, she played my mother on the show. And I was having a day, like, I was maybe a year into it. I was just having a day, like, I was like, I'm not hitting it, whatever. And she, like, pulled me aside. She was like, nobody gives a fuck. Say your lines. I want to go home. And it was the biggest slap in the face. The truth was, no one cares. No one cares. Just get your job done.
I think that's it, isn't it? Because it's a job, and I think when you're coming in from an acting, you feel like I've got to perform. And I'm like,
you got to be a performer. I got to be. Yeah.
I always use that example of John Lovitz's character from Saturday Night Live. But I'm a thespian, you see. Yeah. Did you then move from that and go? Comparing it to stage, did you like the idea of going? You got a few pages a day as opposed to having to memorize an entire play, stem to stern. I mean, what did you have any preference between the two, stage or film?
No. I think that you're always creating a character or telling a story. I see, like my preparation for a play. I know it's not memorizing the line. When I did the show Sex with Strangers, it was me and Anna Gunn, directed by David Schwimmer. But it was just me and Anna on stage for 2.5 hours. And I remember preparation for the first table read. I hired this person to literally come over every day and just read an act with me for about a month and a half. We just read an act. Never memorized it. We just read it every day, over and over and over again. And then by the first table read, I didn't have to look down.
Really? That is really impressive because I'm really bad at memorizing lines. I've got my whole system. I teach voiceover, and I know I tell my students. I got into this thing where I would always highlight the other actor's lines right before mine, so I knew, because I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to react to that, and theoretically that was my little trick. Remembering what they were saying would help me remember what I was saying, but my brain doesn't work normal,
Hey, no, that works. Again, everyone has their own approach to this. That's what's kind of the amazing part of. That's why you're an artist, right?
Exactly. One of the things I'm curious about, mentioned you were directed by David Schwimmer. What was it like being directed by Ike Barinholtz? Because I'm just like that. The Oath. I was like, there's something about that guy that just like he just I Don't know why I want to know more about that experience, but I mean, he seems like the coolest dude. What was that like being directed by him
Ike's
doing
a
that?
great guy. Ike's a really fun guy. He is passionate. He is driven. And man, he really made a great environment. It was funny to like be acting in the scene as he's directing it. So like, you ever see that cut of like Barbra Streisand directing? Was it Yentl or what's the thing she directed?
I haven't seen any scenes of her directing it as of yet.
So she's like in an intense scene, and as the other actor's yelling at her, she's like in the scene, but telling the camera to like get over here, catch it from here, blah blah blah, take it back, and she's still in it while directing it. So it was a bit chaotic, but at the same time so fun, you know. Because, like, I don't know, independent films that you're just trying to grip and rip a little bit.
Yeah, because you got him, you got Jay Duplass, who's another New Orleans guy. That seemed like that was a fun movie to make, The Oath. You know, it just seemed like it was kind of cool. Now, going real quick, just kind of go back to the Bond movie. And again, it's so we're in a time right now that there's so much content to digest. I'm assuming everybody who wanted to see it has seen it, but I don't want to give any spoilers. But of course, you're there. And you're with Daniel Craig and Jeffrey Wright. You know, it was, you know, you're not quite revealed as to who you really are for some time in that film. But what was it like just kind of being on set? Because it's a very, I think it's a kind of a unique club to be able to say, first of all, you've been in a Bond film and you've then to go toe to toe with Bond. You know, what was that? Did you kind of have to pinch yourself ever and go, okay, I'm doing this thing?
I was in a really unique place in my life when I was doing that project, I would have to say, for personal reasons. But yeah, it's not until it came out that I really pinched myself. Because like when you're doing the work, and you're trying to like, you know, you're doing your job. So it's been when it came out that I like realized what I was being a part of. Yeah, here and there I was like, oh wow, I'm in a Bond movie. That's cool. But it really wasn't until it came out. So like in those moments, I'm just trying to be like, I hope no one sees it or no one sees that I don't know what I don't know what I'm doing, you know? You know?
So no, I think you did a wonderful job, man. I really did. I think that was just, you know, how things wrapped up between the two of you in the movie. You know how many people could say Bond did that to somebody? It's like, I'm one of those guys Bond took out.
Right.
But you know, you said you shot The Survivor before that.
I think I was shooting The Survivor and the Sopranos movie, like right at the same time period. Like they were like right on top of each other.
I still want to see. I still have not seen that. There's so much. Again, there's so much stuff out there. I want to see The Sopranos.
So much content, man. I can't even keep up with it. There's so much content.
Who did you play in the Sopranos movie? Is it Polly Walnuts?
I played Polly Walnuts. Yeah.
Again, there's some things I got to put down on the list. You know, now my kid's a little bit older. Now I gotta whatever we're watching, it has to be kind of sort of like not family friendly necessarily, but something that everybody would want to watch. But you know, the kids, you know, they'll you know, like the girls last night just kind of drifted in their telephones during the movie during part of it. I'm like, watch the movie. When we were kids, we didn't bring phones into a movie. But going,
we walked uphill getting there.
Both ways, and but The Survivor for that film, I think it's going to really come out in the grand scheme of things. It's going to be an important movie. It was just so well directed. It was very well written, and I just think that you just executed across. I like the way you kept showing up. It was almost like you kept showing up as a very pivotal memory throughout the film. And I think that's, I mean, without you, I think it would be harder to clearly define what Harry Half's story was.
I wanted to go back real fast. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you were saying like, what, you know, pinch yourself moments with the meaningfulness of like doing Bond or something like that. It's funny doing The Survivor, that it felt different, you know, when you do a movie like that. It feels different. There's a lot more, not weight, but yeah, maybe weight, but there's an importance element to it. There's something that you're, not pride, there's something there that you're like, I really want to tell this story. There's something more than just a big action scene or something. It's like, we're really expressing life in a weird way.
I think it's a wonderful film to watch right now. I think that just what we were talking about before, when you're talking about what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, and you're looking at what's old is new again, and in the worst way possible. It's just sort of like, okay, what's that part of our human experience that just can't seem to be extinguished? It keeps showing up.
Ultimate power corrupts, baby.
Indeed. But it was kind of nice they did have that little opportunity within the film to kind of know, for you to kind of express your, as the character expressing why you're doing this, what you think about it. You're like being philosophical about it. It was, like I said, it's a very well written film, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. But also want to touch on Made for Love. Admittedly, I've only seen one episode from back in the day. It was last year. I think we all kind of went into a COVID time warp. A lot of the things kind of
yeah. We all did.
What was it like filming during COVID for you? Everybody's had a different experience. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I'm like, I hated it. I absolutely I hated it. I'm like, we're filming and stuff like that. We're getting tested 1 million times a day. Like, this is the safest place to be. Like, I hated it. I hated filming. I absolutely hated all of it.
Have you seen the Bubble on Netflix?
Yes.
Judd Apatow?
Oh my God, is that triggering, that movie? I think only people in the industry are like, fuck.
How on point was that?
As people aren't getting shot. Yeah, the frustration comes from the intention of all this fanfare and show is not to actually protect people; it's to protect the people with the money.
Well, I did like the scene when in the Bubble where they said something about, okay, somebody got sick. It was a person bringing them the coffee. It wasn't like one of the actors. But game night. Real quick, what was that experience like? That seems like for me would be one hell of a fun time.
It was. I was actually shooting that. We shot that in Georgia. To be around an amazing ensemble like that, it was a treat every day going to set. And I feel bad for John Daly and Jonathan Goldstein directing us, because we were cracking each other up through that whole movie. And I'm surprised they cut a movie together, because we were just literally egging each other on constantly through that project. I also gained really great friends. I think you might have experienced this, I'm assuming, through the industry. Like, you meet a lot of wonderful people, and they're just acquaintances. But through this project, I gained some friends. And that was what was the best part about it, was gaining friends through this experience.
It's so funny. You look at Jason Bateman, I go, okay, is this guy really that quick? Then you heard him on his podcast. The guy was like
butter, dude. He is smooth, witty, so dry, so funny, witty. He is that guy, man.
Watching you in that, to see, my friend, you got some range. That's all I'm saying. Want to know what you got coming up, because I'll go ahead and drink the Kool-Aid for whatever you got coming up next. What are you working on that's going to be coming out soon?
Right now, it's called Lift. It's, again, with Heartbeats and Netflix. So I'm excited.
And of course, Made for Love is coming out, I think, the 28th. April 28th, I believe, is when it's rolling out. And
yes,
the 27th for the Survivor. What a damn great film, my friend.
Man. Thank you.
But tell you what, real quick, got my 7 questions. Going to wrap it up. I know you're a busy guy, but I like to ask questions that are kind of fun, because I'm a goofball. First one out of the gates, what's your favorite comfort food? Thing you just, that, like, whenever you're sitting down, you're watching a movie, whatever, that thing you just kind of go to. You're saying you bounce around set to set to set, but you got to have that one thing with you all the time that you like to munch on.
I don't usually, my best comfort food, I mean, dark chocolate, of course, or I like nibbling on some dark chocolate. Or the prawn crackers, prawn crackers?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, you get them for the Asian markets. Yeah.
Oh my God!
The ones I like are little ones that are wrapped in seaweed or whatever. Those little whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of a friend of mine who's in Taiwan that sent me some of those.
I don't know the name either. I just know which one to grab.
Exactly. Can't read the package. Okay. Second question: 3 people. If you're going to sit down, grab coffee. Who would you like to sit down with and have a conversation, just for fun, enlightenment, or whatever have you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I've thought about this before. I would sit down with Elon Musk. I really would. I would like to chat with that guy. He's an innovator and like I would just want to know what's going on, man. Like how he operates and how he thinks. Who else would be huge? Ironically, I think I would sit down with Tesla as well, Nikola Tesla.
Oh, indeed.
We could do dead people.
Yeah, Tesla's actually one is like, where are all your notes? We need them right now.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's... And then who else? Oh, man. Who else would inspire me to... I'd love to have sat down with Robin Williams.
On the category leftist too soon, definitely. He's like on the Mount Rushmore of leftist too soon. Absolutely. But,
Yeah.
That's great. Well, let me scoot on over to the next question, which is, who was your celebrity crush when you were growing up?
Who was my celebrity crush when I was growing up? Oh, man. Maybe, what's her name? I can't think of it. Is it Natalie Portman? Yeah, Natalie Portman.
Probably we all love Natalie Portman, of course. Yeah, that's like...
Charlize Theron, too.
Very good, very good. Now, if you're going to go to, let's say you're going to go to an island, an island you want to be on, exotic island, but for 1 year, you can only bring one DVD, one movie, and you can only bring one album with you, and that's all you got. You don't have to have a cell phone or computer or anything, but album and DVD, what would that be?
One movie, one album?
Yes, sir.
And what was the other thing?
No, just one movie and one album, or movie or I say DVD, but nowadays it's like you can't really. You're on an island, you can't stream anything, so it has to be one movie on DVD.
Oh man, this is going to be such a bad answer. I would say Dumb and Dumber. It's just every time I watch that movie, you find something else that those guys came up with, and it was just hysterical. And it's a bad answer, and I'll accept it. I don't care.
No, I mean 2 or 3 times I've had people say planes, trains, and automobiles. So comedies, I think, kind of rise to the top. So.
I mean, yeah, like I'm not an album. Fuck. Oh, then that's because I'm such in a different mood all the time. Like I could literally go to like anything Louis Armstrong or Ella Fitzgerald does, mm-hmm. But then at the same time, I could go like Rage Against the Machine or like Radiohead. I don't know, man. I'm the weird guy that can drive in the car without playing music. I could be in silence.
Yeah, I sometimes I do that and like, wait a minute, why am I not listening to something? It's my kids battle it out. My youngest daughter, my 16-year-old, is into country music now, and the other two are like, please no country music. She's not in the car. Can we listen to something else?
Yeah.
So if you were to go stem to stern, from the time you wake up to the time you put your head down on the pillow, how would you define a perfect day for you? Like this is how I want to live. This is where it's at right here.
Oh man. So in Georgia, one of my favorite things to do in the morning is make my cup of coffee, grind my beans, do that whole meditation for myself. Then I go outside and water my garden, my vegetable garden, and like talk to my plants and mess with that thing. I would love to get a workout in or some physical activity, either it be a hike or a bike ride or some sort of adventure. Have a wonderful bath. Have a romantic dinner, and then probably a bonfire with friends.
Man, that's the most dynamic and badass day I've heard of. But you kind of started saying I've never heard somebody say that grinding the beans. There is a meditative thing about starting the day with making the coffee, and how many great movies start off like that? Even 40-Year-Old Virgin, Steve Carell, how he starts his day. It's meditative. Yeah. It's our space in the world. Grinding coffee beans. And I'm a snob about coffee, but if I got my little thermos here, even the one that can't tip over because I got all this recording gear right here, so I got this special little cup. I'm a nerd, I know.
I love it.
Last 2 questions. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, and what else could you do or would you be doing you would find joy and say, like, I could do this gig?
Culinary arts. Chef.
Yeah. And you and I have so much in common here. Now,
then you get to always feed yourself.
Indeed. I tell my spirit animal is Anthony Bourdain, man. I want that guy's life.
Yeah. Oh, that would be one of the guys I would totally have dinner with. Oh man, that would be Anthony. Yeah.
That's one. I remember my daughter was in L.A. and she called me. It's like, hey, Daddy, did you hear what happened to Anthony Bourdain? I thought she was goofing on me because I love that guy. And she told me, it's like, oh man, it broke my heart. But definitely being a chef, being able to make people happy, which you're already doing. So it's just another form of it. But last question, man, if you were to jump into your DeLorean. You got a DeLorean. You're going to go back in time, 16 years old. You got a piece of advice you're going to give yourself that you're like, okay, this is going to get you on an even better track. What's that piece of advice you would give 16-year-old Billy?
Damn, sorry for the pause.
No, take all the time you need.
In this moment, I want to say, I would tell him, just don't look back. It's not profound, right?
Yeah, no,
sorry?
I like that. That's I totally get it because if you're constantly in the mode of second guessing yourself, then it's going to be a rough ride. You gotta go. And in many ways, I get it.
It's not about career. It's not about career. Just don't look back. Take it. Yeah.
And then Billy, your time, I appreciate you being exceptionally generous with it. I know you're a busy guy. I'm envious you're in Europe right now. I need a vacation.
Come on by, man. We'll play some golf.
Oh, and hey, next time you're in New Orleans, man, your next meal and beverage is on me. And actually, I'm buying a set of clubs here in the next week. I'm teaching my son how to play golf. So join us on the links, man. Hey, I want to thank you again, my friend. Best of luck, health, happiness, prosperity, all of it to you. And I will preach the gospel of The Survivor. What a stellar film, and you helped elevate it most certainly.
I want to thank you for your time as well.
Man, I appreciate it. My friend, go have yourself a killer rest of your shoot here, and hopefully we'll catch up down the line.
Cheers, brother. Peace.
What a cool dude, huh? Billy Magnussen. I got to tell you, I love his energy. Really, that, and he's crazy talented. Really, really enjoyed this chat. Again, his new movie, The Survivor, coming out Wednesday, April 27th, Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. Perfect movie to come out. The Survivor. Billy just knocks it out of the park. I mean, he's amazing in this movie. Also, Ben Foster, I got to give a tip of the hat to him. I got to tell you, if he doesn't get an Oscar nomination for this movie, I will be very, very surprised. Now, also, April 28th, HBO Max series Made for Love, Season 2 coming out, so make sure to check Billy there as well. Don't forget, you can find out everything Story and Craft at storyandcraftpod.com. Social media, anything going on, just head over there and find out what's up. Send me a note. Send me a voicemail. Don't forget, 2 days a week. That's right, Story and Craft is in your podcast app, pretty much all of them, on Thursdays as well. So Tuesdays and Thursdays we will be coming out with episodes. And again, thank you so much. Please, by all means, leave a little review on Apple Podcasts, or, just like, follow, download, all that kind of stuff. Be a part of the mischief we have going on here. Does mean a lot to me that you are making Story and Craft part of your day. It does mean a lot, and I do appreciate the emails. Great episode coming up Thursday. Twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Come on back. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Thursday right here on Story and Craft.
That's it for this episode of Story and Craft. Join Mark next week for more conversation right here on Story and Craft. Story and Craft is a presentation of Mark Preston Productions, LLC. Executive producer is Mark Preston. Associate producer is Zachary Holden. Please rate and review Story and Craft on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. You can subscribe to show updates and stay in the know. Just head to storyandcraftpod.com and sign up for the newsletter. I'm Emma Dillon. See you next time, and remember, keep telling your story. Come on.